14 inches. So I don't know who was unraveling my knitting in the middle of the night. Maybe Toaster. My name is Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 51 of the Love in Stitches podcast. Today is Monday, February 10th. Yes, it is Monday. I am going to, for a while, be trying out a new night to record instead of Tuesdays. I'm going to record on Mondays because my husband actually has an activity on Monday nights that takes him away from the house. So he goes to Dallas and he does Young Life, which is a high school faith-based ministry, and he has been doing that for 4 years. So he's been mentoring high school students starting when they were freshmen, and now his kids that he's had are seniors. So that's something that he's been doing on Monday nights for 4 years, ever since we've been married. And it seems like a really good time for me to also, schedule something that I do weekly, so that basically what was happening on Tuesdays is I would get home and I would be like, I need to do my podcast. And he would get done with work because he works at home. And then he'd have to be quiet for another hour, because I was going to say this, I'm going to try to make this a quick one, but we both know that that's a lie. I can't help but talk about knitting. I love it so much. So yeah, he was having to stay quiet basically for an hour, and it was just taking away from time that we could be together because I had scheduled it that way. So I'm going to intentionally schedule it when he is away, so then I can feel free to talk to my heart's content, I guess. So yeah, Monday night is going to be the new nights, and we'll see how that goes. You'll still get your podcast on Thursday, so honestly, I could say it's Tuesday, and unless you watch my stories and see what clothes I'm wearing, you probably wouldn't know. You probably wouldn't know any different. I am going to be announcing the winner of the 50th podcast giveaway, but I will do that later in the announcements. Okay, so it's the 10th. It's Monday. It's actually sort of wintry. It's 50 degrees and cold and rainy. I didn't even get to take Toaster on a walk today, which was kind of sad. But I did get to wear a sweater. I'm wearing a dress, so I can't tuck my microphone in. I have a 30-foot long cord for this microphone. Okay, maybe I can do that. But I'm wearing my fingering weight boxy. Boxy is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. I should knit another one of these because I wear it all the time, and mine is hot pink, which means people kind of, I think, remember when you wear a hot pink sweater. So it's not one of those I can just wear every day, like my gray, like a cloud cardigan, and it's less noticeable. This is noticeable, but I still wear it probably once a week, honestly. I knit it out of Miss Babs Katahdin, which is one of those giant hanks of fingering weight yarn that's 1,600 yards, and it's a blue-faced Leicester. I don't know how to say it. It's a blue-faced Leicester blend, which means it's not superwash. It might be superwash, but it doesn't stretch out like merino. And I don't know what color it is, but maybe I can look it up and let you guys know. But so comfy. I love my boxy sweater. It is absolutely giant, has so much ease, and I really love how it feels when I wear it. I feel very comfortable and confident when I am wearing it. Also looks really cute with jeans, but today I'm wearing it with a dress and leggings. Okay, let's dive right in because I do have plenty to talk about today. And let's start with finished objects. So I thought I didn't have any finished objects, but then I realized that I actually have a lot of finished objects. They're just all little tiny finished objects. So these are my finished objects this week. I am on a scrubby making kick. This tool, I think I'm naming them Tool Kitchen Scrubby because that's what I use these for. These are made out of tulle and I use them in the kitchen. I really probably wouldn't use it on your skin. It's a little too rough. So Tool Kitchen Scrubby. They are the simplest thing in the world. I will link my tutorial for you below and also in the video. But I do have a YouTube tutorial on these and a blog post, and I believe I'm going to have the blog post linked on Ravelry so that you can favorite the project there. For me, like if it's a blog post that has the pattern, I am going to forget how to get to that link. So if you favorite the project on Ravelry, then you'll always have it somewhere where you can go back and look for it and then get directed to the blog post. These are literally so simple. If you know how to crochet a circle, you honestly don't need the pattern. You just need to know that this is 3-inch tulle and that I used a J hook, and that you start with a magic circle and 12 double crochets. And you could probably just go from there. It's 3 rounds. So I have been taking my scrubbies to work every day. Here's what the tulle looks like. It comes on a spool like this, and it is like a fine nylon mesh. I believe that, like, I got mine at Hobby Lobby and some of my 3-inch tulle at Joann's, I think, maybe Michael's, because I have had a couple people say to me they couldn't find it at Joann's, and I went online to the Joann's store and I couldn't find it on there either. I only could see the 6-inch version. So 3 inches is what you're gonna need. If you can only find 6 inches, I guess you could take a box cutter and like half it. That might be what you can do. So here's the one that I made today. I was making orange today, so I can add that to the stack. But yeah, I've made several pink ones because that's what I was doing my tutorial in. So pink and pink. I made an orange one today. And then these ones are all a little different because I was trying to figure out the best combination of stitches and hook size for my tutorial. You can see I used the leftovers of one to make a really fun multicolored one. This one was really making me mad. I think I showed this one last week because the tulle itself was cut, and that's why you see things sticking out. I've never ever had any other do that. So that kind of made me mad. I would definitely not give these as gifts. They're gonna stay with me. You can see that one's really small and curls up a lot. That was a one that I tested out that did not make it, but it'll still work fine to scrub dishes. And here's another one. So made, I don't know how many exactly this week, but I have made quite a few of those. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the scrubby here too, because I didn't include all this information in the tutorial, even though I really wanted to talk about it, because when I watch a tutorial, I want to get straight to like how to make things. I don't want to hear the story about it. Same with like recipes on the blog. I'm like, I don't want to hear about how you tried it 90 times. Like, just tell me how to make it. Skip to the recipe. So since that's how I like things, that's how I made the tutorial video. But I do want to talk about the scrubby and why I started making them in the first place. But just to show you, what I'm taking to school is I take 2 spools of the scrubby, of the tulle material, because I can get 2 full ones out of each spool. And then I can get like almost a half of one, not quite. I used to, when I used a smaller hook size, get the first 2 rounds, like let's just say these were my 2 colors for the week. I would make 2 full orange ones and 2 full pink ones. And then I could make 1 more scrubby combining these. I would use the orange for like the first and second round and the pink for the final 3rd round. But with the J hook, that doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite get you like 2 of the first rounds or whatever. So that's why I made that 3-color one earlier. So you'll have to play with it. It depends on your gauge. If you want to get more scrubbies per thing, you could go down a hook size. So up to you. But I am using a J hook. I was using an I, and when I switched to a J, it was just that much more comfortable and still nice and scrubby and dense. So that's what I use as a J, but I am kind of a loose crocheter. So if you need to go up even to a K, if you're tight, that might, JK, that might be helpful for you. And then this tool right here is a Susan Bates finishing needle. It comes in a pack at, Joann's or wherever. I think this is like the middle size. It's got 2 smaller and maybe 2 bigger. But that really does help, because trying to thread the tool through a regular tapestry needle is not fun. You could use your crochet hook too, but that's what I like to use. So that's my little kit that goes with me to school. and I'm making one every single day at lunchtime. They probably take me 15 minutes. I haven't timed myself yet, but I would guess they take about 15 minutes. They don't take long at all. That's, of course, I've been making them every single day. So like when you're first learning, it might take a little bit longer, but they are really, really quick. So let me tell you the history behind it, and then I will move on to some whips. So I started making these in college. My college boyfriend at the time, his mom would buy scrubbies like this at a marketplace that they had. I think she said it was like an Amish marketplace, but that could just have been her assumption. I'm not 100% sure. But basically, whatever the marketplace was that would happen every year, she would stock up on these, and they were made from tulle. And when she learned that I was a knitter and a crocheter, she showed them to me and asked me if I could potentially make them, because as many as she would buy, either she felt bad about buying them all up, or like she just couldn't get enough for the year, and so she wanted another place to get them from. So when I first started making these, I don't know if the 3-inch tulle didn't exist or I just didn't know about it, but I would actually buy like regular tulle fabric, like 108 inches or whatever it was, and I would cut into strips, and then I would knot them together to make myself basically yarn. Then I progressed from there, and I learned that if you like roll up fabric and cut it on the bias, basically in a spiral, you'll get one continuous strip. Now every so often it goes like it makes a weird thing because it's leveling down, but it was much, much better. I don't know when like the world started making 3-inch tulle, or I just discovered it, but it was probably the best day ever. One of the smallest best days of my life, because then I could, with no prep, make these. And I made these for a market. I did a market one time, and I made them for the market, and they were a hit. Everyone I ever give these to loves them. So I guess I should say I use these instead of sponges. I don't use sponges. Sponges to me in the kitchen just have a funky smell that I don't like. Like I can smell it even on my hands after I'm done doing dishes. And so I use these. I had always used these, but also used sponges. And then once I had my own house, I realized that I don't have to use sponges if I don't want to. So I don't. I just use these. And so I will use them to not only like scrub dirty dishes before I put them in the dishwasher, but also to like put dish soap and wash clean dishes. Wash dishes, like hand wash them to clean them. I keep several of them under my sink. So like if I've been using one for dirty dishes a lot, I'll like switch to a new one to wash dishes to clean them. But they're so great. They last for a long time. I would say their lifespan is more than a year. I usually use two, like I'll usually have two at a time, because one will go into the dishwasher to get sanitized, and then I'll be able to pull the other one out to like keep in the sink to use to clean things. So even using them that way, where basically one's getting washed like every other day, we probably run our dishwasher every other day, they last for more than a year. What tends to happen first is like this hole in the center gets like stretched out and bigger, and like eventually like a thread will break in there, but that takes a long time and a lot of use. So I can't say enough good things about them. I'm so happy I was introduced to them so many years ago. That's college. I started college in 10 years ago. So there you go. That was almost 10 years ago, and I've been making them for that long. My mother-in-law loves them. They're great if you want to give them as gifts with like a housewarming gift, some nice special dish soap maybe. You could probably also use them to clean, although I have not. I think they would be fine for that, and then you could just throw them in the washing machine probably. I think that the nylon is color fast. But of course, if you're using it with any kind of harsh cleaner that might bleach or stain fabric, that might not work. But let me know, try them out. I adore them. I think they're great. Let me know if you have any questions about them. I will make sure to link the video and the blog post and where you can favorite it on Ravelry to kind of bookmark it for yourself. But tulle, kitchen, scrubby, that is that. And I will have more of them next week. I'm trying to basically use up all of the little spools of it that I have been hoarding. I do think I got most of mine at Hobby Lobby. Every time I would go to Hobby Lobby and they would be on sale, I would buy like 2 or 3. And so I have quite the stash, but I am working my way through them so that instead of having a drawer full of of the spools, I will have a drawer full of scrubbies that I can use myself or give away as gifts. Oh, my mom likes them too. My mom, my mother-in-law, yeah, I really like them. They're my favorite. Okay, back to something I should have said in the intro. I am not drinking tea right now because it is a little bit later at night. I actually drank my tea when I got home from work. My husband left a lot later than I thought he was going to. So I went ahead and drank my afternoon tea. But my husband was recently in New York, and he went to a yarn store for me, which I'll show you what I got later. And next door to the yarn store was a tea shop. And so he got me some tea. He actually got me 4 big containers of tea, but this one is my favorite. It is, I don't know if the tea place is called Harney Sons, or I'm sure if you're from New York, this was in Soho. Okay, he went to Pearl Soho. I'm not gonna keep that a secret. He went to Pearl Soho, and this I think was next door or close to it, but I don't know if Harney Sons is just the name of this tea company or the shop. But he got me 4 of these different teas, and this one is my favorite. I had this tonight. It's called Paris, and oh my gosh, it's fruity smelling. It is so good. But they're all caffeine teas, teas with caffeine in them, so I try to have it like right when I get home from school, not 7:30 at night when I go to bed at 10 o'clock. But I love this one. He also got me Earl Grey and another like a English breakfast tea, and then like a cinnamon one that I'm excited to try. So good job, Kent. Thank you so much. I just realized also that this is up here. I might show that to you guys in a second. Oh my goodness. Actually, I'll just show it to you now. We're doing things out of order. So this is a great pattern for the coming months. This is one of my, this is a design I did last year. In the spring, this is Springtime in Suburbia. It is a crocheted pattern. It uses 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn in 3 different colors. So 1 skein for contrasting color, and then 2 skeins for the main color. The reason that was sitting there is because I actually did want to talk about it on the podcast, and I knew I would forget, and that caught my attention, so I guess it worked. But Diane, who is Suburban Stitcher, is the person that I collaborated with last April on this pattern at Fiberfest, and this is her yarn. I think this one is Peach Tea, and then I will have to look up what these other ones are and put them on the screen because I just can't remember off the top of my head. But she had asked if she could take the sample around with her to different shows after Fiberfest, and I said, like, of course. I was like, you can keep it if you want to, like, keep it for as long as you need, basically. And so she's had it for almost the past year, taking it around to different shows. This shawl or this wrap is well traveled, which is so cool. And so she decided it had ended its tour and it was ready to come back to me. So now I can use it. I'm excited. I think I should just wear it tomorrow, don't you think? It's a crochet pattern. It is basically just like one long chevron rectangle in 3 different colors, and it's just a lovely, simple pattern and great for stash busting if you have like 2 fingering weight colors that you love, and then I don't really ever have 2 skeins of fingering weight in my stash, but what I would do is take two different ones from my stash that I love, and then maybe find something that pulls them together and buy those 2 skeins so that you can stash bust a little bit and combine things. But I love it. It's a great big ol' wrap and such comfort crochet. So that has returned back to me, Springtime in Suburbia, and so now I get to wear it. I'm so excited. Okay, let's talk about some whips. So I have been maybe not the most productive knitter this week. I'm still working on my Tanya. I finally split for the front and back. Honestly, I think that this was shrinking overnight because I needed to get to 14 inches for the body. And for 3 days in a row, even when I was knitting on it, it measured 13 inches. Even though I moved my marker and I made progress, still measured 13 inches. So I don't know who was unraveling my knitting in the middle of the night. Maybe Toaster. But I finally made it. This is Tanya by Caitlin Hunter, and it is a cute little tee with lace on the bottom. I know the lace like literally is shrinking because I had steam blocked it and it keeps going back up. But my hope is that knitting this to 14 inches when it's a little shrunk up means that I will actually get somewhere from 15 to 16 inches on the body, because I don't really want a cropped sweater. So that's my hope. So I finally split and I am working on the back now. I am making a couple of adjustments. I am going to make my armhole 2 sizes bigger than the body size that I'm knitting because I don't want a fitted sleeve. I have just read and heard other people that have made the pattern that the sleeve is really tight, and I don't want that. So I am actually jumping up 2 sizes. I have decided. I'm also slip stitching here. So I didn't start that right away, so it's a little ugly. I'm slip stitching, I don't know if you can see that, so that I will have a spot to pick up my stitches. I'm having a little bit of a hard time alternating my yarns now that I'm doing every 2 rows. And when I switched to slip stitching, that actually helped. So basically, when I do a knit row, I'll slip the first one and then knit across. When I do a purl row, I'll slip the first one and then purl across. And it just gives me like a nice little spaced out edge for when I have to pick up the sleeve stitches later. The other thing that I'm doing when on this side where I am alternating my 2 yarns because they are quite different, I am doing, you can see it right here, I think. See that stitch right there? That is a yarn over. So basically I'm slipping the first one, knitting one, and then doing a yarn over, and then making my way across the row. When I come back, I drop the yarn over off so that my stitch on the edge gets elongated. That's because I know I'm in danger of this side where I'm changing the yarns and twisting them being a lot tighter than the side over here where I'm not. And so doing that yarn over just means I get more of a consistently loose stitch than if I tried to be loose on my own. I hope that makes sense. But those are just 2 things that I'm doing. So I did make a decent amount of progress on the body. You see, I thought I was ready to split for the sleeves last week, and that's how much more I knit on the body. And then I've just knit a little bit on the back. So yeah, haven't done too much on that. Let me go ahead and move my marker. But hopefully I will get back to it soon. But when I show you this next whip, you're going to know why I didn't spend much time on Tanya. Oh, this yarn is spun right round. Here we go. Spun right round, superwash sock in the colorway Dusty Roses. So pretty. Definitely looks very purpley. Well, it looks really purpley down here next to my pink, and then when I pull it up, it looks Dusty Roses, but so pretty. Love it, love it, love it. I need to try it on now that it's split into a front and a back half. Okay, I started a new project. Well, no, let me show you my socks first, and then I'll show you my new project. I am behind on my February socks. It's the 2nd week of February, so I really would like to be done with the foot so that I can be working on the leg. So halfway through the first sock, basically. I am not there, although I did make a decent amount of progress today. So here is where I am. This color is so much prettier in person than it shows on the screen. It really picks up the green on the screen, which makes the whole thing look a little bit darker, but it's just so pretty in person. I tried to get a picture on Saturday, but the sun had risen too high in the morning, and so it was very orangey. But I'll try to get a better picture this Saturday for my little Instagram Saturday sock update. But this yarn is so much fun. It's great for February and Valentine's Day. I need to pick out a really cute progress keeper here in a second to put on here to make it match. But I am making these for my sister's girlfriend for her birthday. That has been decided. And so, yeah, her foot is not that much bigger than mine, so it'll be easy to figure out how big to make it. So yeah, I'm excited. I need to get to work on that. Actually, I might just take a second and pick out a stitch marker right this second. Okay, I decided to put a chocolate frog on there because in Harry Potter, this is a Harry Potter like suite. Doesn't Romilda Vane, oh no, isn't it Chocolate Cauldrons? Romilda Vane puts a love potion into a sweet and gives it to Harry, hoping that he'll eat it, and Harry doesn't, Ron does. But I think it was Chocolate Cauldrons, not Chocolate Frogs. But anyway, there you go. That's how I'm connecting this to Valentine's Day for some, I don't know. That's kind of, that's my loose connection. I always like to theme things. I think it's really, really fun. So those are my February socks. Actually made like a couple inches of progress today because I was like, oh, I have not worked on these, so I better get my booty into gear with that. And so I worked on it a little bit today while I was at work, but hopefully more progress coming up. Okay, one more work in progress, and this is my Centrifugal Shawl by Carissa Browning. It's not much of a shawl yet. I'm going to take a little time to talk about the process of getting it started because it took me a while to get started. So I have this here in my float tote now. Last week I showed it, sorry, the project is falling. Last week I showed it, I think, all out. So now it's here in my 5-skein float tote, ready to go. All the colors available to me. Probably not necessary because you're only using one color at a time in the 5-skein or the 5-color version, but hey, I like to see them all together. But I spent quite a bit of time over the weekend swatching for this project so I could figure out the order of my colors. And I still haven't quite decided yet. So this is, I think, the second swatch that I did, and I think this is the first one. And the only difference here is that I have swapped so I have kept the first, the middle, and the last color the same, but I have swapped these two here. I know it's quite hard to see the difference between these two colors especially, but the shawl itself has really big sections of these, and you're gonna notice it in the big sections a lot more. So I think that this is the one that I'm gonna go with. I can't quite remember. I think this is the one. But yeah, I really like it. And a lot of people have said on Instagram, that doesn't look like you. I know, it's different for me, it really is. Or is it supposed to be a fade? I don't know, guys. All I know is that I like these colors. I like them together. I think it looks really interesting. When you hold it back, like this all looks like almost like one thing, which is funny. But you have to think about what it's gonna look like in the bigger scheme of a shawl. And honestly, you just never know until you start. So that's why I did a couple swatches to see what I like. But ultimately, I just gotta decide and go with it. So really, I only have this much going. And I wanna talk a little bit about how this went. So you start the shawl on like one side, and it's like it's actually a half octagonal wedge. I don't know. She explains it really well. It's Carissa Browning. This is my first pattern I'm doing with her, or of hers. What? With her, of hers. And it is really awesome. I love how she writes and includes information. It's really, really interesting. She had this awesome technique to start the I-cord edging. Starts with an I-cord edging, where you basically like reverse engineer like I-cord bind off kind of. It was really, really cool. And she has you do it on a larger needle because once you actually change to actually go across, you need the smaller needle, which was really, really smart. I've had that issue on other patterns where it doesn't recommend you switch the needle, so that was really, really brilliant. I also really enjoyed the cast on, but I had an issue. When I went to, after I had done the I-cord cast on, I loved it. I went to knit my first row and I had this terrible, and I'm calling it terrible because me, like big spaces, that's terrible. I did not like how it looked at all. This huge gap between my I-cord and my first row. And so I stopped and I took a little section of it and I went back and forth a few times to see if maybe once I'd done a few rows, if it would change, and it didn't. And I really didn't like the way that it looked. And so I was bummed out, of course, because I'd already been, working on casting this on for a little bit and swatching it. And I posted a photo on my stories and I got a few responses from other people that are making the shawl, because it is part of DFW Fiberfest. It's their knit along this year. And so other people sent me theirs and they had the same thing. Actually, nobody's was as like gapey as mine, but everyone had a little bit of a space. And then Toaster. Okay, I don't know if Toaster's gonna keep going, but basically nobody's was as gapey as mine, but other people did have a similar thing going. And I just knew that it's something that wasn't gonna work for me. Like I was not going to like it. And so I thought I would try a different way, a way that I had done before to cast on with an I-cord. And another person, I think it was you, Caitlin, that messaged me. She said that she had done the same thing, and so that gave me the confidence to give it a try. So I don't know if this is helpful for anybody. I am just not meant to explain this because now my mom called. I don't understand how she gets through. I must have her listed as someone who can get through my do not disturb. I will be able to explain this, but if a designer, me included in my design, says to do something a certain way and it doesn't work for you, that's completely okay. You are allowed to change things. It doesn't mean that you think what the designer has picked is like bad or wrong. It's just not right for you. I think the reason that the technique didn't work for me is that I'm a really loose knitter. So I was getting like bigger gaps than everybody else and it just wasn't right for me. So what I ended up doing, and I think Caitlin, it was you, what you ended up doing too, was making the whole I-cord, just a regular I-cord on my larger needle, and then taking my smaller needle and picking up, doing like a pick up and knit all the way along the I-cord. I had to do a little bit of fudging to make sure that I still got my live stitches in the right spot. So if you are making the shawl and you've bought the pattern and you want to talk about like how I made that work, I'm happy to talk to you about it. I just don't want to give away like the pattern any more than I've already talked about it. So yeah, so now I am on the right track. I'm so happy. I cannot wait to work on this. I kind of want to work on this more than my Tanya because switching the yarns out is driving me nuts and I don't have to switch the yarns out on this one. So it's just going to be like a simple garter project. It's going to take forever because it's 5 skeins of yarn, but I'm so excited for it. Now, since this is part of the DFW Fiberfest cow, there's also a crochet along. I decided to pick out my Texas-y, is that a word? Stitch markers. So I got these at McKinney Knittery a few years ago. I have a cactus and I have an armadillo, which is so funny. So they're so cute and they're perfect. You need 2 stitch markers right now, and so those are the 2 stitch markers I picked out. I don't really use dangly stitch markers very often, only dangly progress keepers, so that was really fun to get to use those. So now I need to pick out, is that Christmas? Doesn't belong in there. I'm gonna put that away. I need to pick out a progress keeper out of my bowl here to go with my theme. Okay, I don't think my project is big enough for me to put this on here yet, but this is from Simply Serving. This is like the guac cupcake. It's got guacamole, Texas, guacamole, that's not, I don't know, guacamole, and chips and onions and stuff on it. It's so cute. So I'm gonna keep this probably just, I'll clip it to there. It's not that it's heavy, it's just that my knitting isn't very long. I want to do this on the right side. Which side's the right side? Clip this on here. Whenever I do use a progress keeper that's a little big, I make sure to put it through like several stitches so that it doesn't end up stretching out any one strand. So there we go. I'm all Texas themed now, and now I really want to go work on that. I have other things I need to do first, like get that scrubby pattern ready. But that is ready, and I think that is all of my whips. Okay, let's do some questions. If you have any questions for me, feel free to head to the Ravelry group, to the Love and Stitches Ravelry group, and go to the Ask Me thread, and you can ask your questions on there. If you don't want to ask on Ravelry, feel free to use the YouTube comments, message me on Instagram, whatever you want to do. I try my best. Like, the Ravelry group is the best place because it's one place for me, but I do have a comment I'm answering from YouTube today because I was diligent and put it into my podcast notes as soon as I saw it. So let's do a couple questions. So this one is from YouTube, and it's from Caitlin. And Caitlin asked, have you ever had any reactions, good, funny, or confused, from people who see you knitting in public? Okay. Yes, and I have talked about how I'm going to film a knitting in public video for so long, and I still plan to do it, but I'm so sorry it's been so long. So I'm going to tell you some of that today. Yes, I don't always get reactions because a lot of the times when I'm in public, I'm surrounded by people I already know that are so used to me knitting. It's like when I'm not knitting, they notice it more. But sometimes I get questions. I've learned to kind of answer them in a similar way. Like, I've kind of gotten the gamut of different questions, and so I know how to answer them now without being awkward, because I'm super awkward, like really awkward. Sometimes like come across like kind of rude, awkward. Like, that's how I am in person when I haven't thought through a scenario yet. So it really helps me to think, what are people going to ask? How can I react to that in like a kind way? Which might surprise you to hear about me, but that's really how it's hard for me to like interact like that. I'm super introverted. So I have kind of gotten them all, but I am going to save a lot of that for my knitting in public video. But I want to tell you about my favorite my favorite time, and I did not handle this well. I'm the kind of person that after I have an awkward interaction, I think about it for like hours, about how I would have reacted differently, how I wish I could go back and change it. Are you that way too? Please tell me that I'm not alone. But this is my favorite time. I was at a Stars hockey game not too long ago, and I always knit at the games. I'm just sitting there knitting, and I just happened to kind of like turn back a little bit, and I noticed that the guy behind me was filming me knitting. Like, not me, but like my hands or whatever. And I was just like, I just kind of like looked at him, and I probably made like a face and like turned around, and immediately I was mad at myself. I'm like, why did you have to react like that? Like, he wasn't doing, I mean, it was weird, honestly, because I don't know if he was filming and like Snapchatting his friends, like, look at this weirdo, or if he was like, this is strange, but like not in a bad way, or if he was recording it for himself. Literally, I don't know. What I wish I had done is not really said anything. I didn't say anything. I wish I had just like looked at him and like smiled, or like even been kind of funny and like waved at the camera. Like, acknowledge that like I saw that you were filming me, but like it's cool. Because it was. I mean, who cares? Like, I don't want somebody to get a bad taste about knitting or crochet in general because I reacted poorly to it, and I totally reacted poorly in that situation. So the next time somebody is taking a picture of me knitting or filming me and I catch them, I'm ready. So maybe you can plan ahead for that too. But when I finally record my knitting in public video, I'm gonna run through some of the common things that people say and how you can prepare yourself to like have like kind of a quick little like funny quip or something you can say that is not gonna make anyone feel basically bad, because we don't want them to feel bad about knitting. We want them to have like a good reaction with our craft. So that is coming one day in a few months, I think. Okay, 2 more questions I'm going to answer from the Ravelry group. This one is from Always Yarn First, and she said, I was wondering what brand your winder is. I noticed it during one of your videos. I detest mine and would love a better quality one. Okay, I would love to tell you about my winder. I did not pull it down, but I'll try to get a little video of it to show you where my winder is. It's hanging, or sorry, my Swift is hanging and my ball winder is sitting on the dresser below it. But both my ball winder and my Swift are from a company called Fiber Artist Supply Co. I highly recommend them. They are, I believe, a small company. You can order their products off of their own site. It comes with like instructions. You can just tell it's like a small business, but like they make quality stuff. I know that if I had an issue and I like emailed them or contacted them, I would get an answer directly back from someone who's directly involved in that production. So I really like them. I know lots of people in like the knitting podcast world that have these winders. Mine, I believe, is the large or jumbo maple ball winder. I believe it was about $130. Well worth it. You can wind really big skeins of yarn on it. It's quiet. It has both a clamp and it has rubber feet. So I never really clamp mine. I'll either sit on the floor and wind mine, or I will set it on the counter or something. I never really clamp mine, but I could if I needed to. And it's just really high quality. I also have their Swift, and there's the Swift I got so long ago that I actually got it from Etsy. They might still sell on Etsy, maybe, but it's the same company, but I bought it from Etsy. And they don't make, it's an Amish style Swift. They don't make the exact same one anymore. They've actually improved upon it. So where mine has 2 wooden feet that are very lightweight, the new one has like ball bearings in it, and it's like one solid stand, and I'm guessing it probably spins a little smoother, although I still have no problems with mine, and I've had it for I don't know, 7 years maybe. I've had it for a long time. So I love Fiber Artist Supply Co. I'll make sure to link them in the description box, but they are wonderful. And I've had no issues with my product so far, but I know that if I had a problem, I could just contact them really easily. So I really like my ball winder. I think it's worth the investment. The ball winder was the first thing that I bought with my money from pattern sales. So it took a long time, months and months, to build up that like $130. And I let it accrue in my PayPal account, and then I bought myself a ball winder. It was the best feeling ever. So yeah, I love that ball winder a lot, and it is worth it. Okay, last question for tonight. This is from, I think your name might be McKaylee, but McKaylee Marler says, "Hi Natalie, love your podcast. Thank you. I have been knitting on a shawl a lot lately, and I noticed that I'm developing a callus on my thumb. I wondered if this happened to you when you knit or crochet a lot." That's an awesome question. I think that would be great if some of y'all could share your response to that, if you've had that experience with a callus or anything, because I'm just one person. So, but I have not had a callus in a while. But when I did first start knitting, oh yeah, I got calluses. I got like sore little points on my fingers all of the time. Still sometimes if I'm knitting a project with particularly like small or sharp needles, I will get little spots that kind of are tender, but not very often, because one, I don't really knit, like I use wooden needles pretty often, or like socks. My needles are not super sharp, but also like I knit a lot. And so I honestly probably do have like calluses. Like they're not like the hard kind of like shelf kind you get from like weightlifting or whatever, but like honestly my pointer fingers and you said your thumb, they probably are calloused from just years and years of doing the same kind of repetitive movement. They have built up that tough callous skin, and so I don't really get calluses anymore, but totally makes sense to get one. And I still do get from time to time, especially if I have to do a specific stitch that I kind of have to force. So if you're getting a callus, like, honestly, great, because hopefully that means you're building up tougher skin there and then it won't bother you in the future. But if it does bother you, like, just do it for 30 minutes and then take a break for 15 minutes, or do it for 30 minutes a day. And you don't want to break skin, because that would mean you probably have to stop knitting. A lot of people will put Band-Aids and so that they can still push, or if it's a habit that you have that's making it that way, maybe you can work on changing how you hold things so that you're not pushing on the tip of your needle or holding it so hard, so that you don't get that callus. So I don't know, I definitely think it makes sense, and if it's not bothering you, then doesn't matter. If it is bothering you, maybe you can try some of those things to kind of change it. All right, let's do some news. I have some yarn to give away. I did not even bring it over here. I'm so sorry. But I have yarn. You know what? Darn, I should bring it over here, shouldn't I? Okay, I got up, I wasn't lazy, and I went and got it. But I am giving away, on my last podcast, so if you are watching it now, this is from the 50th podcast episode, but I am giving away these beautiful skeins from Farm Girl Fibers. And I'm also giving away a pattern from Jennifer Lasan Designs, who is Boston Jen. And then I'm giving away, I know you can't really see them in there, these cute little end minders, which are from Crafty Flutter by Creation. So the winner is, drum roll, dun, da, da, da. I have not picked a winner yet, but I'm gonna put the winner on the bottom of the screen. The reason is that it is Monday and I want to give people as long as possible to enter on my 50th podcast. And so I'm not going to draw a winner until later in the week, right before I have to upload the podcast, so I can just pop it in. But congratulations. If you are the winner, make sure to email me. My email is knittynatty@gmail.com. Let me know that you are the winner and we will talk about getting your prize mailed out to you. Thank you guys, everyone who said something on the 50th episode, especially all those really sweet comments about if you've been watching since my first episode, if you are new and you are loving it. Like, basically, I've read every single one and I've tried to respond to every single one, but they are just so meaningful to me. And thank you so much for taking the time, if you did, to write a comment. I know, like, you were entering a giveaway as well, but some of you really put a lot of time and thought and sweet words, and they really do mean a lot to me. So thank you guys so much for those 50 episodes. And here we are on the other side of 50, ready to get to 100. I'm excited. I'm here. I'm going to be here every week. It'll be over another year before we're to 100 episodes, but I'm already thinking about fun things we could do for that. Okay, I am going to talk one more time about my Scrubby tutorial. That's my new video this week. So make sure to go check out that Tool Kitchen Scrubby, and also you can find the pattern on my blog and also linked on Ravelry. I think that's all I needed to say about that. Okay. I am about to show you some things that were donated to me for my Knitting and Crochet Club. By the way, Crochet Club is my first one. I have a set of 4 fourth grade girls that are learning to crochet. Last week we met Tuesday and Thursday morning. They learned the slip knot and the chain stitch, and then they started to learn to single crochet. So basically these next 2 Tuesday and Thursday, we're gonna be still learning to single crochet, because that just seems to be like a lot harder than just getting the chain down, but they were doing really, really well. After that group will graduate, and I will have a group of 5th graders come in and learn to crochet, and I will have them for 2 weeks, and then so on. So I had some things, some sweet people reach out to me long ago, and I wanted to share what they donated to my knitting and crochet clubs. Now, I knew I was already feeling guilty about not thanking them yet, but after I opened the package and saw all the sweet things that they sent, I feel even worse. So yeah, Natalie really dropped the ball on this one. I should have opened them up right away. But I'm going to share them with you now. They are going to my students. I didn't end up having my clubs in the fall, which is why I kept the packages closed. Like, I didn't even want to open them because I didn't want to miss what came from who and who it was, so I can send them a picture and a thank you note eventually. So hopefully they didn't totally decide that I'm the worst and they're not going to follow me anymore. Hopefully they're still here, but I want to show you what I got, and I'm going to try to do it as carefully as I can. Okay, so one of the packages is from Tina, and Tina sent a really sweet, actually, no, I'm going to do, yeah, we'll do Tina's. So one of the packages is from Tina, and she reached out to me and asked if she could make some bags, like make bags for my club students. And so she ended up making these really stunning bags. I think she said out of pillowcases, and they're just these cute little drawstring bags in different prints, and they are so beautiful. I love this one. I love gray and yellow. They are so cute, and these, I'm going to show you all the prints. She did 3 different prints. Love that one. So cute. They are just going to love these. So she sent these beautiful bags that she sewed herself, I think out of pillowcases. And then she also, this is why I feel so bad. You can tell that this was around Halloween last year because I'm terrible. She crocheted these cute little fish, and so they can tie them onto the outside of their bag to distinguish like whose is whose. So since there are 6 bags, I am saving these for my next group of kids, or I think my next group. I have a group of 6, so I didn't want to give them to my group of 4 because then I would have 2 extras. I couldn't give the 2 extras to a partial group. You know, if you have kids or if you're a teacher, you know, you have to be fair to everybody. So I'm going to save this for my group of 6, and I'm going to give them these, and I think they are just going to love it. So not only did she make the bags, Tina crocheted these cute little adorable fish, and ooh, I got fuzz on my nose. I am just so grateful. I love this one. The kids are going to go crazy for these. They are going to love them. We will send you a picture, Tina. Thank you so much for sending those and making those, and you're just super sweet. I'm sorry it's been so long. Okay, and then Wendy also got in contact with me, and she said that she was basically cleaning out her stash and purging things, and that she had a lot of bags to donate as well. She also said she had yarn. I kind of forgot about the bag part, and then I opened up the package like right before I started recording, and I was blown away. You guys, there's so many cool bags in here. Like, I want to keep some of them. They're so cute. She said, feel free to keep any of the bags for yourself, which I'm not going to do unless they're extra, of course. No, I'm still going to give them to the kids, but I'm going to try to tactfully show you this. Oh, this is a big box, but look at all of this stuff. Oh my gosh, Wendy, you are so awesome. So she sent all this really fun yarn. Like, how fun is that? That's such a fun color. And like, you know, some crazy lime greens. The kids are gonna love this. All kinds of different things. There's even like a little like nook. I don't know, somebody will really like that. These kids love it. And then all of these bags are so cute and so adorable. So not only am I gonna have these really special handmade bags from Tina to give to a group, but I'm also gonna get to allow all of my kids to pick out a bag, a project bag, which is so cool. I'm gonna bring these tomorrow and let them pick out some bags. I have to count, of course, and make sure I really do have enough for everybody, because that would make me feel sad. They won't know. Yeah, they will. They'll talk to each other, but it's okay. Sometimes you get something special, and sometimes you get yarn and whatever. I'll make it even. But Tina and Wendy, thank you guys so much for sending that. My kids are going to love it. So what I do with stuff like this, because the bags are different, like I'm going to give the bags out now. But for my club, I do have everyone purchase the same materials. I go and purchase them for them, but it's because I want everyone to have the same weight of yarn and the same hook so that they are starting at the same place and it's not more of a challenge for this kid because they've got a different hook or a different yarn, whatever. So I don't actually, even the materials that I decided to donate from my own stash after cleaning it out, they are not using them as part of the learning process. But at the end of the semester, it's like the best day ever. I've done this a few times before. I will go around to all of the 4th and 5th graders who have ever been in my knitting clubs, because I do rotate them throughout the year. And so I'll go gather them all up. There'll be like 30 kids, and they'll draw a number, 1 through however many of them there are. And of course, number 1 gets to pick first, 2, and so on. They get in a line outside my door, and I dump all of the yarn and tools and everything that I have out on my teacher table. And number 1 comes in, and they have like 30 seconds to pick one thing. It doesn't matter. It can be yarn. I don't care. Pick one thing, and then they go to the end of the line, and number 2 comes in, they pick one thing, and it just goes through until everything is gone. And they absolutely love it. It is so much fun. It's like crazy and rowdy, and every kid goes home with like at least 5 things usually that now they don't have to bug their parents to take them to a craft store. They have the tools that they need. They have extra yarn to play with, and they can just, be a kid and have fun and be creative. So that's definitely what that is going to go towards, is my end of the year thing. My classroom closet is getting a little full of yarn that I'm going to be giving to kids. So yeah, if it keeps getting like that, I might have to have a spring break, like before spring break, clear out too. So we'll see. But it's so much fun, so much fun. So thank you ladies so much. Again, I apologize. It's been such a long time since I received those packages, but I didn't want to even touch them until I was ready to start my club and give this to the kids. So thank you guys so, so much. Okay, I'm going to give you a life update on my issue with my varicose veins. So if you don't want to listen, you don't have to. But basically, I went back to my appointment. I think it was last week, but I forgot to talk about it. And I'm going to have a procedure to have my veins like basically closed. I don't know. I do know, but I don't want to go into too much detail in case it's very gruesome for you. But basically the veins that are damaged in my upper legs and my lower right leg, they are going to be treated, and they will be closed off, and my blood and the magic of the human body will find new veins. And then the veins that are dead to me anyway, because they are terrible and they hurt and they're ugly and they're not doing me any good, they're just going to be dissolved and absorbed into my body, I guess. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I am going to be doing that during spring break. It's not a major procedure. I literally will drive myself there. It will take 30 minutes and I will drive myself home. I could go back to work if I was working, but I decided it would probably be better for me to do it during spring break so that I don't have to take time off. And if I do not feel super great after it, that I can rest and knit, of course. So I will be doing that in the second week of March. Happy birthday to me. It's the day after my birthday. I guess this is what adulthood is all about, because it is not a cheap procedure. While it is like covered by insurance, this is more than you need to know. Basically, I haven't met my deductible for the year, so I'm paying mostly towards my deductible for it. So a lot of that money we've been saving really hard for vacations will go towards this, but of course it is necessary. We can afford it. We're fine. My husband and I talked about it, of course, and I'm really hoping that it is worth it, and it makes me feel better, because I don't like wearing here, I can show you they're so cute. I don't like wearing these every day. Yeah, they help me, but if I don't have to wear them because my veins are fixed, I would really like that. And also, like, in the summer, like, forget it, I'm not wearing them. They would be too hot, and I'm not wearing them when you can see them. I've had to wear pants, I've had to get new pants so that you can't see them. Anyway, it's a whole thing. It is not something really to complain about because there are so many worse things that could be going on, but I will be happy if it can be fixed. So yeah, if you're going through something similar, I'll keep updating you because maybe you would like to know how that went. But that's a few months down the road. I'm gonna save all the money we can until then so that we can, pay that off and we'll still be good to go on our vacation saving goals. Okay. Lastly, bringing me joy. Like I said earlier, my husband went to New York last week, and he is the best because he really cares about my hobby of knitting. He really supports me in it, and knows that it's not just like a hobby, it's much more than that. And so when he goes away on vacations on his own, he will typically stop in a yarn store. A lot of times he brings me yarn, but I don't know if he chose not to get me yarn this time because he knows that I'm not really buying myself yarn right now, or if he just didn't see anything like local. He went to Pearl Soho. I'm so jealous. He said, I've never been to New York City, and he said that I would love is it the Soho district? Soho? Yeah, he said I would love the area. It's very artsy, coffee shops. I'm like, that's all me. I love it. I love it so much. So if he doesn't get local yarn, he looks for something with the shop name on it. And he said there wasn't any like the cool like wooden gauge things that I like. But he said, and he's like, there was something really cool, but it was like, what did he say it was? It was really expensive, or he would have gotten that for me. But I'm glad he obviously didn't spend a lot of money, and he just got me a measuring tape. But what was funny is I picked him up from the airport, and I was asking him, of course, about his trip. Like, he was kind of walking me through day by day, and he said he was in Soho, or he didn't even say that. He said he was somewhere, and I said, well, if we ever go to New York, there's some really cool yarn stores, and I want to go to Pearl Soho. And he's like, really? You would like that, huh? You would like to go to Soho and go to Pearl Soho? And then he's like, here, open up your hand. And he put this in my hand, and it was the measuring tape from Pearl Soho, which I thought was really funny. So, and then he went and got me that tea as well. So I thought that was a really sweet gift. I told him I literally didn't want him to bring me anything because I'm trying to be really minimalist right now. So of course he didn't listen to me, but at least he brought me something consumable in the tea and something very small and useful in the measuring tape. So I can definitely appreciate that. Oh, one more thing. Speaking of my husband, there's going to be a special video I have brought back from the archives, dropping on Friday on Valentine's Day. And that's all I'm going to say. Just watch for it. You might enjoy it. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. So much for watching. And I will see you guys next week.